How's everybody doing this evening? Bring this up a little bit more. I am so ready. I'm excited about being here this evening, sharing this information. 2025. You guys ready for 2025? I am so ready. All right, I hope you're excited. I hope you're ready. You know, OIC 10K, it's our pleasure to bring this information to our community at no cost. At no cost. So I want to encourage you guys to take advantage of this information. You know, we try to bring the best of the best, and we want to keep this information very basic, very simple, so that everyone can not just hear it or see it, but be able to use it, put it to use, all right? And so let me share my screen here, and let's get started right away. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Thank you very much for that introduction. Business Director Kimberly Latrace Williams. She's something else. I'll tell you what, it's one of the people that I respect very, or I think very highly of, because she's not just well trained in what she does. She's lived it. This is real for her. And so I'm excited about that. But let me share this information with you guys. And we want to start with the basics. Finance 101 for 2025. That's today's topic. I'm not going to have enough time to finish it. I'm really going to try. But let me see what all I can pack into 20 minutes. And let me start my clock, because y'all know I got plenty of slides, right? I can go forever. There we go. I got my clock started. We're going to keep it right about 20 minutes. So, we want to help a person to ensure that your financial rocket is ready for takeoff. I'm in the state of Texas, and we've got NASA down the road in Clear Lake, and then right up the road, we have SpaceX. And so there's a lot of rocket stuff going on in Texas. Well, I want my finance to rocket. How about you? You want your finance to rocket this year, or you want your finance to be grounded? And one thing about rockets, the technology is important and all the calculations are important. But guess what happens? If it doesn't get off the ground, what good is the technology and the calculations? It's got to get off the ground, right? So here again, the basics are important. So let's get into the basics. Every new year brings new opportunities, and 2025 is no different. We're going to start out with a new administration this year, right? Then we also have new challenges. I mean, there are going to be some new laws, but we got new challenges starting like at 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Who wants to be, trying to have a good time and someone has other things in mind? So now we've got, in a short space of time, 15 people that are no longer with us and about 30 or 40 people in the hospital. It's crazy. So there are new opportunities, but there are also new challenges. You got to be prepared, right? And then, of course, there's always new technological advances, right? And so I talk about SpaceX, I talk about NASA. But listen, this is the era of not just AI, which is artificial intelligence, but they're also talking about super AI or artificial super intelligence. And every time I look around, there's more and more information about that. But the bottom line, with all this that's happening, you still have to take care of your finances. And so it doesn't matter where we are in the world, the individuals or the families, are the center of any financial system in any country. I don't care where you are. And for the longest time, a lot of people thought, well, let's see what they gonna do. I don't know what's gonna happen. What they go? Okay, you or the they. You are the they. Your family. You have something to say about your finances. It's no longer the era of, well, let me see what kind of job I can find. You can make decisions about that, or what type of business I can open. It's not just limited to one thing or the other, but it's all about having information. And so the question is, do you have a 2025 financial plan? Do you know what you want to do for 2025? Right? I mean, you've got to make your own plan or ask for help. You can ask for help. And the great thing about today is that if you don't know someone in your family, maybe, or a close friend, or you don't know where to ask, you can ask the internet, you can Google. I mean, this is crazy, but there's all forms of artificial intelligence for your assistance, right? Now, what about have you set any financial goals? Do you know one thing is to have a plan, but do you know what you want to achieve with that plan? What is your financial goal? How much money you want to make this year? Right? How much money you want to make this year? Or are you going to wait to see, let's see what happens. I want to see what the year is going to bring. That is definitely not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is, what do I want to do for me and my family? What do I need for myself and my family? And let me give you this free suggestion. If you don't think you have the wherewithal to set a financial goal, at a minimum, set the goal to be 5 to 10% ahead of where you were last year. At a very minimum. Okay? Why is that? Because there's a little thing called inflation. Inflation is nobody's friend, okay? There's a little thing called inflation, and inflation can ruin your finances. Believe me, it can. So please set a financial goal. Even if you don't think you may achieve it, at least set it. If you don't set it, then for sure you're not going to achieve it. But if you set it, your mind will go to work to help you think of ways to achieve it. So please set a financial goal. And then have you decided on what your financial philosophy is? Yes, it's important. Many people just go to work. They work a job, they do what they're taught, what they're taught to do, and what they're required to do. Someone is checking on them, that kind of stuff. Okay. But you can work because someone's going to pay you X amount of dollars to do this or to do that. Or you can work based on a philosophy of what you want to do with your finance, what you want to achieve, what you're doing for your family. You have a choice. And I want to get that point across to people, because we're coming out of this era of, well, let's see what job I can get. That's yesteryear. Today, you talk about finances. You talk about how much money you need to do the things you need, and to meet your responsibilities. It's not just what they will let you have. You are the they. The question is, what are you going to let you have as far as finances for yourself and for your family? So that's the question there. So let me break this down a little bit and just kind of give you an idea. Here at OIC 10K, we have a philosophy that we work with. And there are several things in that thought process, but let me just give you a little idea of our philosophy here. Here's a part of our financial philosophy. Protection is first. We believe that protection is first. Why? Because, we talk to people all the time, and we talk to people that are in their late teens, 18, 19. Some people trying to hold on to the teens. They think they're 20, 21. No, when it's gone, it's gone, okay? And we talk to people that are like myself, 39 and a half for a long time. But anyway, and then we talk to you know, people that are a little more mature than that. Regardless of when you get this information, you have been doing something. You have been working, you have been studying something, and you are where you are. And where you are needs to be protected. That way you can move on. But you have to ensure where you are first, protect where you are first, and then do everything else. So we believe protection is first. And then an increase in income strategy. You've got to know how you're going to make more money. And we're going to break these down for you here in a minute. And then you have to have a commitment to savings. Everybody must save. Everybody must save. It's just the right thing to do, right? And then, investments. I believe in charity, philanthropy, whatever else you want to do, hobby, this, that, and that's great. But it has to be an order of things. You get involved in investments before you're protected, and you may find yourself, in a bad situation. Because usually investments, sometimes they work right away, sometimes they don't. Many times, for the most part, they don't work right away. So you've got to protect where you are. So what does that look like? So when we say protection is first, what are we protecting? How about your income? Your lifestyle comes out of your income. Like some people may have a trust fund. And I've heard people say, well, when my trust fund matures, I'm going to do this or that. And that's a wonderful thing. A lot of people I know don't know how to spell trust fund. They've never seen one. And it's okay. But they work hard, and they make good money, right? And so your lifestyle comes out of your income. So you got to protect your income. I talk to people all the time, and I remember talking to this one gentleman. He was making about $150,000 a year. And I asked him, well, how much life insurance do you have? He said he had about $250,000 worth of life insurance. Now, this young man had a spouse, and he had 2 children. So the question is, if you're making $150,000 a year and you have $250,000 of life insurance, what happens if you don't make it home? What happens if you were in New Orleans just having a good time, something crazy happened, now you're not making it home? What does your wife and children do? What does your spouse? It could be the other way around. What happens there? What happens to the home? What happens to your college plans, or the family's future plans? What happens to all of this, right? This is why protection is first, right? Regardless of what your income is. I've spoken to people that have a $2 million a year income, and that's great. But whatever our income is, we start to set up our lifestyle to match our income. So therefore, if I'm making $2 million a year, does that insulate me against things happening? Does that mean that since I'm making this kind of money, I couldn't die prematurely, or I couldn't become ill and now my whole life changed? Of course not. So if you set up to whereas whatever your income is, if you will protect a minimum of 10 times your income, and that's what most financial people would recommend, but I believe your income should be protected based on your commitments. So if you're a young man, 30, 35 years old, you just bought a home, you got a 30-year mortgage, 10 times your income is not enough. You need a little bit more. If you're a 35, 40-year-old man and you have a 2-year-old child, they need 16 more years of your income. So, I guess that's a bit debatable, but this is what we need to protect, and this is why we need to protect, because I believe you should take care of your commitments whether you're here or not. If you made them, then keep your word. And then an increase in income strategy. Why is that? We've got to stay ahead of inflation. Simple as that. If you're making $100,000 a year and inflation is 5% this year and you did not get a raise, now your buying power is only 95,000. We've got to stay on top of this, right? And so a lot of times people say, well, what you don't know can't hurt you. Now, y'all know that's a lie, right? And so we say a lot of cute things, but we don't realize that I don't care how cute it sounds, it's either sound philosophy or it's not. It's either truth or it's not. And finding out that it's not correct after something happens is way too late. So we want to make sure that we get as much information as possible, right? So you want to stay ahead of inflation. You also want to meet the needs of a growing family. And even if you're by yourself, as you get older, you have other needs that are going to arise that you may need, you're going to need to meet, right? And then you also want to, maintain, and expand when necessary. You could start with a 1,500 square foot home, but in 5 years, you may need 2,500, right? And so you want to have an increase in income strategy. Things may cost whatever they cost today. People say, well, inflation is 2%. Okay, but listen to me. It's not 2% and staying at 2%. It's 2% on top of whatever it was last year. So next year, when it gets a new 2%, it's not just 2%. It's 2% on top of. And so that's why the price of things double like every 15 to 20 years. And that depends on how the economy is going. The price could double in a year, in 3 years, in 2 years. It just depends. So you always want to have an increase in income strategy because life is not stagnant. Life keeps moving and you've got to move with it. Okay? So, and then a commitment to savings. There's a little thing out there called miscellaneous. And I remember the first time I was introduced to miscellaneous, years ago. I was working with a gentleman at the credit union. We were looking at my budget. And he said, well, he said, make a budget and let's talk about it. And I brought the budget to him. And I think I had $50 for miscellaneous. He started to laugh and say, you have no idea what miscellaneous can do. He said, let me help you understand a few things, right? And so the thing about it is, I put miscellaneous first because miscellaneous can go crazy on you. You've got to commit to saving. And then maybe you want college funds for the kids down the road. Great. Retirement funds. I mean, that is a big one right there. I believe you save for retirement. You save for retirement. You don't invest for retirement. And I know I get a lot of pushback on that because most business people believe I'm going to start my business, I'm going to build it real big, and I'm going to sell it for $1 million or 2 or 3, and then I'm going to retire. Well, think about during COVID, how many thousands of businesses closed and never reopened. I'm talking about, I remember one of the top Chinese restaurants in Houston. And I was able to visit there a couple of times because I had some Asian associates. But the food was pretty good. And once we started to get back out after COVID, this restaurant had food flown in from China every day. Very exclusive, very classy. They closed, they never opened again. Sign, everything was gone. I've been to other places, hotels, restaurants. They're gone. So if your plan is, I'm going to build my business real big, and then I'm going to sell it for $3 million or $2 million or whatever, and then I'm going to retire, what happens if your business closes? What is your retirement plan now? Right? So I believe you save for retirement. It's important. And then investment. You want to save a little bit of money so that you can have some money to invest. Why? Because I believe that you should invest, but you invest to have a chance at a better life. A chance. It may or may not work. 80% of all the new businesses that open, they close every year, right? And if you Google the percentage of people that really make money in the stock market, it may surprise you. So all I'm saying is, I believe in all these things, but I believe in the order, doing it in a certain order. If what you started with is protected, and then you're working on increasing your income, and then you're committed to savings, and now you're moving to investment and so on, then you're building on a solid foundation. And that's what we're talking about. So just to expand things a little bit more, because my time is almost up, you got to know how you want to grow your money. And no one told me this before. I'm blessed to be in the largest industry in the world. And I didn't know that till just a few weeks ago. But the thing about it is, I had to start to look into this, and I realized that how you grow your money and where you grow your money is important, and it's basic. It's not even that complicated, but we got to know some basic things. And so understanding whether you're in a variable environment or you're in a index environment, those things are important. So whoever you're talking to about money, you want to ask about that, okay? Where are you growing my money? I mean, you want me to invest in this or that, but how is this growing my money? Is my money at risk? You can grow money without having it at risk, and so on and so forth. So free your mind also. Think about the industry you're in. I just Googled the 5 top industries in the U.S. economy, and it talks about healthcare, it talks about technology, construction, retail, and also manufacturing, non-durable manufacturing. I also Google the top 10 industries in the world, right? And if you Google that, you come up with this: life and health insurance, and cars and automobile sales, and so on and so forth. Why am I talking about this? I'm simply showing you this so that you don't feel that you have to be in a box. You can decide what you want to put your time into. You can decide to select an environment where you have more opportunity for growth. You can decide to select maybe, I remember a few years ago, they were talking about reinventing yourself. And so we did a lot of things because we just wanted to get a job, just wanted to go somewhere, do something. Want to pay some bills. After a few years of that, you got to get to a point where you say, you know what? I've got things under control to a certain degree, but I want more for my family. I want to have more secure environment. And you can make that choice. And I'm just pointing out these things so that you know what's out there. And now you have something that you can investigate. Maybe my skills can be applied somewhere else. Maybe besides doing this, I could do that. Just want to give you guys some ideas about things that are out there. But if you lay this foundation for your finance in 2025, and you come up with a philosophy and you come up with a process that you're going to apply, I'm sure that you're going to have a much better 2025 than your 2024. So listen, I just want to thank you guys for allowing us to share this information with you. I'm pretty excited about what we do here with OIC 10K. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to share this information with our community at no cost. And so we want to encourage you guys to tune in every Tuesday, every Thursday. We're going to be back, and we're going to have some more information to help you succeed in 2025. Back to you, Kimberly.